Today I fucked up by telling a woman at our first date that her pepper spray is useless. So this actually happened today. A few hours ago. So a friend set me up with this woman because she thought we have similar hobbies and a similar dark humor. We met today the first time for a coffee, tea. We were actually having a good time, or at least I thought so. We clicked right away and had a lot to talk and laugh about. After like an hour she suggested to pay our drinks and go somewhere else for lunch and I happily agreed. As we were about to pay our drinks she started searching her purse for her wallet and put various objects on the counter because she seemed like to have a bit of a mess in her purse. One of these objects was a pepper spray. I casually mentioned after leaving the coffee, "I'd consider getting a different pepper spray if you plan to defend yourself. This one is quite useless." For a bit of context, I used to test various of pepper sprays and tear gas in the military. We were stupid and young but it was also kind of thrilling. And the product she had was by far the worst, weakest we tested. I just recognized the bottle because it was so bad and thought I should let her know that this is probably not the best option to go with. But she obviously didn't know about that because, well, we just met an hour ago. After this comment our conversation kind of died and she suddenly had a work emergency and had to go. It took me a few minutes until I realized that my comment was beyond creepy without any context. I am definitely not used to meet new people. I hope I've not traumatized her. Too long did not read. Creeped out a woman I've only met an hour before by telling her pepper spray would be not very effective if she intended to defend herself. And #X200B. Edit. It's all good. She called me, she apologized for running off. I apologized for my weird comment and we are going out again. Yay. I'll try to not do any weird comments about her precautions again. Edit 2. Thanks for blowing this up. She found the post and now we are sending each other screenshots of weird, funny comments. Thanks for the entertainment. Edit 3. I am not an expert for defense spray. We were just some bored soldiers with some examples. And this one was outstanding mild, bad, that is why I have recognized it. So don't ask me for pepper spray advice. You are quite the sweet talker. In the future it might help to tell her your funny story about how you came to know how her pepper spray feels. Lil creepy without any context. While I think you could have added the explanation of how you knew, as a woman I'd find this really useful to know. Which brand was it? On our first date, having met online, I took my wife canoeing. I packed a decadent lunch which needed to be prepared, and served so an hour into the date she is in a river, miles away from anyone and I am wielding a very large chef's knife. Lucky for me she was less cautious than this girl. We've been laughing about that for 21 years. The foo wasn't what you said, it was not immediately following up with how you happened to have this information. I'd just send her a follow-up text if she hasn't blocked you yet, just explaining the context so that she's not too scared of future dates with other people lol. I'd do that and then wish her luck, you'll both find the right person someday. Now redeem yourself and tell us what the best one is for civilians to purchase. You accidentally went full Dennis. Today I fucked up by telling my cousin she was dating her cousin. So I'm the family genealogist. I have done hundreds of hours of genealogy research and have composted a family tree of well over 8,000 individuals. Well, a couple of months ago I was at a wedding and I was chatting up one of my cousins I hadn't spoken to in a while. She introduced me to her date, and all was well. Until she mentioned her date's last name which I immediately recognized as being a last name in our family tree. I asked who his dad and grandfather were and I pulled up my research and sure enough, they were third cousins once removed. He and I had a laugh about it, but I could tell she was less than thrilled. I later found out that she just couldn't take that information and was grossed out by it. She broke it off with him that night and it caused quite a bit of drama in the family. She ended up blocking me on Facebook and is pissed off at me for even telling her about it. Too long did not read. Was introduced to my cousin's boyfriend. Recognized the last name as being a family name, then learned that she and her boyfriend were actually cousins. She broke up with him and won't talk to me anymore. One would think that rather than block you she'd obtain your approval before going on any dates. Initially read as, so I'm the family gynecologist. So they had great-great-grandparents in common? I'm just here for how beautifully the composted typo goes with family tree. Offs it's something like less than 5% genetic connection at that point. Sounds like her problem. You may not have actually composted your family tree, but that relationship sure went into the shitter. This is the subreddit for people who fucked up. You didn't. False advertising, I want money back. Today I fucked up by killing my GF's dad. About me quickly, I am paramedic and have been one the last 2 years. I have been working through COVID-19 and have seen my fair share of suicides, overdoses, and worked many full codes. Yesterday, Saturday, we were having dinner at her parents' house and her father was saying how his chest was hurting the whole week. His CP started last Sunday and he would take his prescribed, but expired nitroglycerin sublingual spray, and he would relax and the pain would go away after 20 minutes. It also happened on Wednesday and Saturday. He was saying how that whenever he got excited, like mad, happy, anything that raised his heart rate, that he would get a little bit of pain but nothing crazy. I ask him how many times did you use the nitro and he says that he used it like 4 times today, Saturday. He kept talking about how his head hurts and he feels weak. I explained to him what nitro does. Dilates blood vessels putting less pressure on the heart and lowers blood pressure, and that he has probably OD'd on it because it is an emergency medication that just band-aids the problem and doesn't fix it. This guy is so fucking stubborn. I literally haven't met anyone worse, even myself. I tell him that you literally need to go to the hospital right now because you will die if you do not. He shrugs it off and I talk to his wife and tell her you need to get him there, convince him. I tell my girlfriend the same thing. I said, do not wait, it is a mistake, he is going to die tomorrow. They wanted to believe me but her dad just didn't want it and said he would feel better tomorrow and was already feeling better throughout the day. The entire time I was there trying to convince him to at least let fire rescue come and do a welfare check. You do not get charged if they do not drive you to the hospital. He insisted that he would be fine if he just rests and takes it easy. I kept pushing for at least 1 hour trying to convince him any way I can. We dropped the conversation. The whole time in my head I am thinking about how I can get him there. How can I do it? How? I said, if it still hurts in the morning you need to go. I get a yeah from him and he ignores it. GF and I go home and sleep. Around 11 a.m. today I get a call from the son, 12, saying that he's in the bed not breathing. I grab my keys and get moving while on speaker with 911. 10-minute drive there that I turned into 5 minutes. 11:05 found him on the bed, phone in hand, blue lips, cold to the touch. I can just tell once I touched him that he had been unresponsive for at least an hour, maybe 2. Son said that the last time he heard him was around 9 a.m. but he didn't check his dad. Sternal rub and yelling his name with no response, no pulse on carotid. I got him off the bed and on the ground doing CPR, 5 cycles, on duty arrived 11:14. Paramedics show up and I give them the full rundown and they get the Lucas, auto CPR device. They stayed on scene for 20 minutes running a full code. EPI, AMI, calcium, sodium, D10, sugarwaslow, bicarb, intubated. But he was asystole the whole time. I knew he was dead. 11:30 wife and girlfriend show up from work and see him being loading into the ambulance. I speak with the lieutenant with the wife about what hospital and ETA for their arrival. We all go back into the house and I tell them just get some water, clothes and anything and just take things slow. The hospital will need time to register the PT anyway and will not let us in due to COVID. None of them were saying anything. The car ride they're silent, just hiccups and silenced cries. Left around 11:45. Arrival at the hospital 12 o'clock. We waited an hour, I know he's dead. 12:15 was time of death and they pull us in around 1300 to speak to everyone and give us the usual death talk. Sign release of body and figure out what funeral home. We leave. And #X200B. I have never ever blamed myself for any point death that I have directly cared for because I always knew what to do, medications to give, and the severity. I haven't had many deaths on the job but they hurt for a while when it happens but it goes away after a week or so. And #X200B. I blame myself for this. I should have just called 911, all the signs were there and I knew. TLR didn't call 911 yesterday even though all the signs were there. Now my girlfriend doesn't have a father and I might as well be a killer. And #X200B. Edit. I honestly think that if I called 911 in that moment yesterday the stress and pressure, anger, would have caused him to pass out and then we can go to work with implied consent. Thanks for the comments but this will affect me for so long. This is so impossibly hard. I will never make this mistake again. If you have any counseling or support available through your work I would use it. Damn, it's not your fault though, you told a lucid fully aware person and they decided against it. It sucks in the end but you can't rely on what if. I had a friend die in an accident and I spent years wondering what would have happened if I'd have gone to meet him that night like planned. Sorry buddy. This one doesn't qualify for a TIFU. This one wasn't on you. You didn't kill this guy. He literally killed himself by being stubborn. If you'd called 911 he probably would have refused transport and still died. You gave the best advice you could. He didn't take it. He was an adult. He made his choice. Counselor and former paramedic here. You gave an autonomous adult your best advice as a loved one and a professional, and they chose to ignore it. Blaming yourself is normal and irrational. If it helps, the sooner you forgive yourself the sooner you can get to wholeheartedly supporting your girlfriend in her time of need. Sorry for your loss. It's not your fault. I tried to get my mom to go to the doctor last time she wasn't feeling well. I found her dead that night. Turns out she had heart disease. She had it for years, but never went to the doctor. Stubborn as a stone mule. I'm so sorry that happened to you. You did what you could. The guy refused to believe that he was in trouble, no matter how many times you tried to tell him. Have you ever been on a call when someone just refused transport even though they were clearly not well? You can't force someone to accept medical care they think they don't need. There is absolutely nothing in your story where you are to blame for this. It is because it is so close to you and I don't think anyone will blame you. Today I fucked up by not knocking before entering my bedroom. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, one being me and my girlfriend's bedroom, and the other being our office. Because of this we rarely have guests over, but her father was coming in from out of town and we thought it would be nice to let him have our bedroom for the weekend. I have a Google Home that is my alarm in the bedroom that goes off at 7:55 a.m. on weekdays. When it went off this morning I rushed to turn it off because I did not want to interrupt his sleep. When I opened the door, without knocking because I assumed he was asleep, I was greeted with a package. He was spread eagle on our bed naked, cock and balls as free as could be. I panicked and shut the door quick, then told him I was coming back in to turn the alarm off. Afterwards he didn't seem too awkward, but I can't get the image out of my head. Please send your condolences, thanks. Too long did not read. I walked in on my girlfriend's dad and saw his package. Enjoy that image seared into your brain for eternity. It could have been worse. I was expecting much worse. My condolences op, but the fact you have a smiley face at the end of your too long did not read is killing me. I don't care if it is family. Nobody but me or my wife are sleeping naked in our own bed lol. I'd make them sleep on an air mattress. Edit. Make them sleep on an air mattress or guest bedroom. Why would he be naked in someone else's room in someone else's place? Was he packing? Oh look, a core memory. My friend, let's just call him Alan for the sake of this story, did worse. His girlfriend, Jess's parents were staying and like you they offered their bedroom to the parents. Alan had what one might call a rather big night. Back before weed was legal everywhere when synthetic weed was a thing. On this night Alan came home quite late when everyone was asleep. He went to his bedroom where he forgot Jess's parents were staying. As he normally would, Alan takes off all his clothes and gets into bed. Jess's mum screams as she was awoken by her daughter's naked boyfriend trying to spoon her. Jess and her parents were far from impressed. Sue, could have been worse. Just remember that's how your girlfriend's cock and balls will look when she's his age.